Good morning, everybody. Today I thought I'd like to share this card with you that I made at the beginning of the month. I've based this one on the theme for the Lavinia Stamps Challenge this month, which is a Misty Morning. I'm calling it a Misty Morning Meeting. Now, for this card, you're going to need your Elements inks in Violet Chalk and Olive. You'll use Hickory Smoke and Pumice Stone in Oxide inks, and you'll use VersaFine Nocturne. You'll also need a piece of Lavinia Stamps Multifarious card. I've cut an A4 piece in half to get an A5 one, so that's what I'm using. But I will be cutting it down into a square. You'll also need Mini Leaf 2 and one of the flower stamps from the foliage set. The verse I'm using is a time to reflect on one's life and hold what is close to our heart. I'm using Peri, which is this one, and Kernal, which is the Sitting Fox. I'm also using the large tree from the Red Pine set. I'm using a hill mask, and I'm using quite a thick paintbrush for my background. I'm also going to use a Koi Einur Hartmouth Gioconda white kohl pencil. The number on it is 8812/2, if that's helpful. And I'm also using a Jelly Roll pen, the gold one. I think it's actually called Clear, but it's sort of like got a gold reflection on it. So that's everything you'll need to start your to make your card. So to start with, we're taking our A4 piece of card and both of our distress oxides and our paintbrush and our water spray bottle. So we're going to make like a watercolour background using Hickory Smoke. So I'll place that on my mat, just making sure you can see. Zoom in a little bit. And my pumice stone. So I'll put them over there. So I spray water on both of them, and then using one at a time, I'm just going to gently make strokes up and down my card. I'm doing this quite evenly, just up and down. On my card. Just using light brush strokes up and down. I'm having to try and find different ways to do my backgrounds at the moment because I've got a problem with my arm. It gets quite painful when I'm blending inks. So I've been having a little mess around, and I quite like this background, especially if you're doing a forest theme. Bit here, there, get that off. And then what I've done as well is I've also made some small thin lines with each colour. So I think when it dries, I think it sort of looks like the shadow of trees in the background of a forest. So I've done one previously, and that one's dry. So I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to clean up my ink. going to get my cloth and I'm going to dry my mat. I don't think I'll need my paintbrush anymore. So. Now this is the one I'm going to use for the moment. So I'm going to cut this down to a square. So normally when I cut my card in half, I use, I think it's 14 3/4. I cut it to, which usually gives you, so I usually cut in the middle of them 2 lines there. And if I turn it that way and measure it, just to make sure. So there we go. Oops, yep. I'm happy with that. So this is our card we're going to stamp on now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our large red pine tree in Hickory Smoke Distress Oxides. I'm really sorry about my cough as well. That's it. So I'm just going to place my card sideways on because I like to stamp that way. We'll have our funny quirks. I'm sure other people stamp sideways. I don't know why I have to, if it's a large item. I think I find if I line it up there with that line, I can keep it straight as well. So I'm just coming onto the edge of the card. Press and hold down with my first, and then I'm going to come down a little bit, and I'm going to do a second generation very faintly in the background. And I'm coming back in with my first generation. And once again, I'm going to come down a little bit and stamp my second generation. And we just keep going along until we've stamped the whole piece of our card. And then on the edge of the card, I'm going to have one more dark one coming in. There we go. So that's our background done. Oops. So there we go. So we'll put that out of the way. I'm going to give this a wipe. There we go. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our grounding area. So I'm getting my heel mask, and I've got a grey brush, I have different ones for different colours, or colour sets actually, but black needs its own, so I use a separate one for grey. And I'm just going to gently use my blending brush to ground my area for my foxes to stand in. There we go. That's that part done. So the next thing to do is to stamp our foxes. They're called Kernal and Peri. This one is Kernal and this one is called Peri. I'm going to get my stamping platform out. I'm not sure if my Nocturne ink is very juicy. I'm going to line that up with number 7. And then I'm going to place them so that Peri is walking towards Kernal and asking him if he wants to go for a walk. Quite happy with that. He's grounded. And he's grounded. I say he, could be a he and a she, or 2 she's. Whoops. There we go. Right, so I now need my black Nocturne. I'm going to ink up both my stamps, making sure there's no excess ink on the edge. So I've used this stamp quite a lot. It's quite dark, so sometimes it's harder to see. But I think that's okay. Put that there. And then pick up our stamping and place it down and gently keep pressing. It looks like it's juicy. But this card at the back could be still a bit damp as well, because I've done it earlier on today. Not too long ago actually, about 10 minutes before I started the video. Sometimes if your card is a bit damp, it leaves, oh, just a few little bits, look. So if I re-ink again, gently tapping. I hope you can see that. Very gently tapping, trying not to get any ink on the edges of the stamp. We don't want any big black blobs. And there we go. Gently pressing down, and to use my cloth. And gently lift. And I seem to have a mark in that one. Don't know what it is. We'll try to cover that up once more. See if that will cover it up on his bottom. I'm inking the whole thing because sometimes I find you get a line if you've not inked up the whole thing. I want them both to be the same colour. Let's press down with my cloth again. Sometimes you get a little bit more pressure. Much better. There we go. So I'm happy with that now. So I can put the two foxes to bed. And there we go. There's our card. The rest of the stamping is going to be done with acrylic blocks. So I don't need my stamping platform anymore. So I can put that away. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is stamp with our acrylic blocks. So first I'm going to stamp my words for my verse. So I've got a nice little block here that my words just sit nicely on. Oops. And I think I did stamp, yeah, I've stamped these with hickory smoke as well. But I'm going to stamp them second generation. Actually, I stamped them with Nocturne, but I don't really want them. Let's just stamp them. I think we can stamp first generation on some, and then second generation on the next one. Done that one there. There we go. Just do a little bit in there. Just press down on the front of that. That's good. There we go. I'm just going to put one more at the top there. And on the top of that one. Okay. So that's our words stamped. Okay. Now we need our Elements inks. And I'm using a circular acrylic block. Oh, there they are. I didn't realise I'd picked them up. And I stamped the first one was the flowers. Now with these elements, they're very, very juicy ink pads. So I basically just drop it on and lift it up. And then as you can see, you get a nice layer of ink on your card. So I'm going to stamp this one also in second generation. I just drop the ink pad on. I don't tap it because it's very spongy and I always end up with loads of it around the edges. So I'm just going to stamp a few of these little flowers along the bottom. First and second generation, sorry, I said first, you know, but it's first and second. And then I'll come in from this side. Okay. There's one under his paw. And there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'll see what I mean. If you press too hard, don't remember not to press. Just drop your ink pad on and lift. Drop off and lift. A little bit around there. Just use my fingernail to get that bit off. And I've got 6, so I want 7. I'm going to put that one there. And then I'm going to do exactly the same for the green, which is olive. This one was violet chalk, so I'm now using olive. So I'm just going to drop and lift, and that's what we're going to use. So which is that nice flower there, leaf set. Just to give a little bit more colour to our card. I'm actually liking this one as well, so I wasn't sure about the cream card, but I think it's worked quite well, and I think the background stands out more actually in the cream card because the colours have reacted with the colour of the cream. So I think I'll do a second generation there. And then that one there, and that one there. And that's our base of our card finished. So just to bring a little bit of colour in. Put that on top of that green one so I know where it is. And then we are going to, our card is nearly finished actually. So we are now going to use our, oh, where did I put the hickory smoke? I don't know. There it is. Using our hickory smoke. There it is. I thought it for a minute there. I thought I'd swapped lids. And tap off on there. And I'm just going to get a piece of paper and just gently edge the side of my card. Sort of brings your eye more into the middle of your card. I'm going to do all around the card. There we go. And then we've just got our finishing touches, which includes making it look like a misty morning. And you can see on this card, I used my pencil across the foxes to make it look like it was misty. So I'll take the side of my pencil. This side here's got a longer piece of chalk, so what I did was I just brushed it along like that, and then again, and then again, and then again, and then I just got my finger and rubbed it in. And then put some on a piece of paper, a little bit more, and then pick it up with your fingers And then blend that onto there as well. And that's my Misty Morning. And then I took my gold pen, my gold jelly roll pen, and once again using a piece of card just so I can hold my card in place. Oops, I've done that bit. I'm just going to highlight in the gold pen. I don't know if you can see that. In the gold pen, just highlight, and then it will look like glistening in the mist. And I did this on all the branches. Okay, so I hope you can see that. And then I went round the edge of my foxes. I have to check my pen's working because I couldn't see whether it was or not. But can you see that? I think you can. Hopefully you can see that little bit on his face. And all round his fur. See, I'm not sure if you can see that in there, but hopefully you can. And then I get my white pen. Sorry, I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the video. And then where all this white is here, I just tap, and then with my finger I just smudge it. And the same on his tail. And that gives you the lovely white highlights on his tail and on his chest. And the same with this one. Just take your finger. I think it takes a lot of the white out of it and just gives you a highlighted area. It comes down into there. And there we go. Once you've finished all your highlighted areas, that will be your card finished. So this is the card that I've done on a white multifarious, and this is the one I've done on cream multifarious. I actually quite like them both, really. That one looks like there's more sunlight in the background, so maybe a moon or a circle of sun would be nice on that one. Make it feel more like the morning. I hope you enjoyed my video. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Bye.